are you from here? I was like, no, originally, but no, I live in Louisville, Kentucky now. So no, we came out here to specifically to throw this party. So I'm only out here for a couple days. And he was like, really fascinating. And we talked for a few more minutes or whatever. And he was just really inquisitive about me and my life to the point where I was like, it's getting kind of weird. Like, you trying to Weinstein me? Mm? You on your Epstein? No, not Playboy. Mm-mm. Hello, Governor. This is Rick Steed, new from the Ville. And I want to welcome everyone back to this channel. Have you ever walked into a room and felt like you needed to prove your worth? Perhaps you encountered someone and instantly judged their value, or felt like they judged your value. We live in a world that constantly ranks and categorizes. But what if it was a simpler, more profound truth? What if at our core, everyone is him? Himothy. What if everyone you meet carries an inherent VIP status, deserving of respect and recognition, regardless of their role or perceived importance? And what if the most powerful way to acknowledge that truth is through something that's often underestimated? The sheer transformative beauty of kindness. I'm going to take a long, deep, therapeutic look at The Bear, Season 4, Episode 3, Scallop. Now, this episode is named after a delicate ingredient that demands respect, and it brilliantly showcases how that in the most demanding environments, and it brilliantly showcases that how in the most chaotic environments, the simple act of treating someone as special as him can cut through the noise and reveal a true human connection. I'll explore how moments of genuine kindness can shift dynamics, inspire growth, and remind us that the shared dignity, and remind us of the shared dignity that connects us all. So get ready to reconsider how you interact with the world and discover the quiet power of seeing everyone as him. Let's get into it. Once upon a time, I was a party promoter, and the greatest party I ever threw was at the Playboy Mansion some many moons ago. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking it's nothing but a night of debauchery and just wickedness. Nothing could be further from the truth. It was a night of real networking and people coming together. That didn't sound like, I'm not talking about, ugh, I'm not that kind of company. Y'all know what I'm saying. Don't stop being nasty. This party started at 5:30 p.m. and we ended around 5:30 a.m. It was the longest party I've ever been to, let alone me working it, throwing the party. It was one of those kind of things, if someone suggests a party, I'd be like, oh, hell no, I want to sleep. But I was near where the craft services were, which basically like the little food tables. And I had a impressive spread out, like chefs that were making food, to serve. And I was standing there, and there was an older gentleman that walked up to me, and I was impressed with his tie. Not so much the tie, but the knot he had in it. At that time, I still wore a lot of shirt and ties, and I was impressed with the different type of knots that people had. And what he had was called an eldritch knot. I never saw many people with it. So I commented on the eldritch knot that he had tied. And he was extremely impressed that I even knew what that was. And I was like, yeah, I'm familiar with a few different knots, Trinity knot, the eldritch knot. There's, most people know the four in hand. But the eldritch knot is truly something special. So we had a conversation. And it just so happened he asked what little hors d'oeuvres I was eating. And I was like, oh, well, is this? Here, you can have some. And he was like, he looked at me like strange, like I offended him for offering him something off my plate. And I was like, well, hold up. So I went and got him a few and brought them to him. I was like, here you go. And he's like, do you work here? And I was like, no, I don't work here. I said, but I'm one of the, organizers for this party. And he's like, are you from here? I was like, no, originally, but no, I live in Louisville, Kentucky now. So no, we came out here to specifically to throw this party. So I'm only out here for a couple days. And he was like, really fascinating. And we talked for a few more minutes or whatever. And he was just really inquisitive about me and my life to the point where I was like, it's getting kind of weird. Like, you trying to Weinstein me? Mm? You on your Epstein? No, not Playboy. Mm-mm. So I walked off, and one of my buddies who was with me, he said, do you know who that was you were talking to? And I was like, no. And he said, that was the chairman, I won't say it was the chairman of NBC or something like that. And I was like, really? And so I was like, what's he doing here? But I guess, out there, that's how the rich and powerful do it. They just hobnob and network at different events. So I don't know who got there, and I wasn't actually in charge of the guest list, so I don't know who was on the guest list. But I remembered he was completely thrown off at just me being kind and down to earth, which I guess they don't get a lot of in LA. So, it's one of those things that it's a regret. I know I said I don't have many, but it's kind of regret that I never followed up on, not like, relationship seems like a weird word, but never followed up to reach out to that guy and see if there were any opportunities that may have arisen just from a simple act of kindness in passing at a event. Damn. Who knows? Let's talk about it. Hello, Governor. It's Rakai C. Newfoundlandville. And if you've been rocking with me for a little while, I'm going to try to keep this moving, try to keep it flowing quick as possible. I'm trying some new stuff, so I really want you to give me some comments. Tell me how you like what's happening, what's going on, and if whatever you haven't subscribed, subscribe, like, comment, share, all of that. Now we are talking about The Bear, season 4, episode 3, Scallop. So let's talk about the episode real quick. Like, 1, the kitchen is in chaos. It's been in chaos since last season, since Carmi messed around and locked himself in the freezer. It's been in chaos for a while, but now we're under the gun, and as we saw in episode 1, now there's a clock, and we're running out of time. The bear is running out of time. Now, the kitchen is usually the crucible of stress, yelling, and hierarchy. Everything has a place, everything has to stay in its place. There is a wonderful moment in this episode where they're trying to figure out who is the VIP, who's the person who's going to come and review them so they can get this Michelin star. And one of the guys in the kitchen says, you know what, it's better off that we don't know him. And they say, why? They said, because you should treat everyone as if they are him. Everyone deserves to be treated as if they're special, as if they're family, as if they're a VIP guest. And that resonated with me. But how are we going to do that? Through kindness. Everyone deserves your best. And there's moments where you can see the characters consciously or even subconsciously treat a peer, a subordinate, the delivery person, or even a difficult customer with utter deference and the utmost respect and the genuine kind of care that would exemplify everyone is him. Another thing that's important about this episode is those people that have gone overlooked and underestimated. We really start to get more from Sweeps and Ibrahim. Ibrahim hires a business consultant named Albert Schnur, who's played by Rob Reiner. And Ibrahim is trying to create opportunities for the restaurant. He has a conversation with Carmi about why he quit culinary school when he was with Tina. He just said it wasn't for him. And he came up missing for a little while, but it was because he said he didn't feel like he created opportunity. And he felt like maybe they felt that way too because no one came looking for him. When it was really more so, we're here when you're ready to come back. This is about not seeing people as they are, not their title, but the potential that they have. Now, I talked about my theme behind this, not only the title being Everyone is Him, but it's all about the beauty of kindness. You have to know that kindness is not a weakness. It's a powerful, transformative force, capable of de-escalating tension, building trust, fostering growth, and revealing deeper connections. It's about the positive ripple effect of conscious acts of empathy and compassion. We see later on in the episode where Marcus is talking to Carmi, and Carmi compliments him on how outstanding his station looks. And he says, well, I didn't do this by myself. Sid helped me get it together. He said, the one thing I really need is some firepower, which he needs some real help, not just a body. He needs some help, somebody to help him put this over the top. We see that Cicero is so deep in the hole that Donna's trying to sell his house for him. And Donna is she's struggling, but she's trying. Carmi finally decides, after all these conversations that he's had, trying to get right, he finally makes his way to Clara's house and he has a heated conversation with her. Now he's trying to apologize, but the thing about an apology is she doesn't have to take it. You said some ugly shit. You have to own up to that. He apologizes about his anxieties about the relationship, only to find out that she had her own anxieties about the relationship. After he left, he seemingly felt better, but we don't know really where his head is at until he decides to call Pete and tell Pete he needs to make an update to the agreement, the one that Sid still has not signed. Now remember, in the last couple episodes we said we had to pull back components on the plate. There's too many things on the plate. It was too convoluted. Sid and Carmi agreed to 3, but Sydney had to pull it back to 2. How can we make a simple dish but still fantastic? And Sydney comes up with the scallop dish. Now scallop's a delicate ingredient, and when prepared correctly, and that's with kindness, attention, and proper technique, it will yield a beautiful, exquisite result. Now, this can actually symbolize how treating people with kindness and care brings out their best and contributes to a harmonious dish. But dish can mean, your team, your workplace, your relationship. People who cook know that your emotions, how you feel, goes into your cooking. You ever heard your grandma say, I cook with love? You can taste it. It is the strangest thing in the world. You put a world-class chef who is having the absolute worst day ever, and you can tell that he's nasty to everyone around him. He can make this dish that's his signature dish. And you put a little grandmother who just wants to give everyone, a kiss on the cheek and a peck on the neck. And all she wants to do is love everybody and feed you. Baby, have you eaten? You eat something, baby? And she makes the same dish, but with love. And I know you think that the chef's dish would come out better, but more times than not, it's going to be the grandmother's dish. That's because the aura, the love that's put into the dish. The chef might use fancier ingredients and done some more fancy stuff, and he might plate better. It might look immaculate. Grandmama probably gonna taste better. When you find a chef that truly loves what they do and they put that love, that passion into the food, you taste it. You know, when you're in a high stakes environment, a place like the Bear's Kitchen, there have to be deliberate acts of kindness. You know, and that can be anything from patiently teaching, offering genuine support like Sid did to Marcus, acknowledging their effort like Carmi did with Ibrahim, and forgiving mistakes. You know, Sid, Carmi, Ibrahim, like that list can go on and on. But all of those things are crucial for team cohesion, and they're also important for preventing burnout. The beauty lies in its effectiveness amongst the grit. Now, on a show like The Bear, when you pair the high stress environment like the Bear's Kitchen with a moment of unexpected kindness, it can lead to an emotional breakthrough for one of our characters and soften their defenses and prompt them to change. And we saw that with a number of characters so far and what we will for the rest of the season. The hardest thing for anyone is to lead by example. You can't tell other people to be kind if you're not kind. You can't tell other people to be patient if you're not patient. Our characters in this, they display leadership through their actions. And unfortunately, if Carmi's been our leader, he's displayed a lot of chaos, but he's working on it. Kindness can be a more potent tool than aggression. I know that you've heard the term, you know, you get more bees or you get more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. Kindness can lead to a greater respect and loyalty. I remember there's a movie that I love called A Bronx Tale. The question is asked, would you rather have people respect you or fear you? Now, the gangster in the neighborhood says that he'd rather have people fear him because fear breeds respect. They know not to cross the line. And his father, who's a bus driver, says he'd rather have respect because if people respect you, then they can love you. They don't have to fear you to respect you. Two very different opinions. Now, I'm not going to tell you which one you should feel because I think there's a place for both of them. But really in your everyday life, it should be respect and love and kindness. There is room for it in your life. We live in a cruel world, and a lot of times kindness is mistaken for weakness. But you have to think about it. If kindness is mistaken for weakness, then how come the strongest man who ever lived displayed nothing but kindness? It's a question you have to answer on your own. This is Rakai Steed, new from the Ville. Again, make sure that you share this as much as possible. Like it. Go on, hit the like button. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think of this new format that I'm doing. Tell me what you miss about the old format. Tell me what you like about this comment. Tell me what you like about this format. What do you think about the beauty of kindness? Are you kind? Are you kind to people? Are you kind to yourself? Everyone can be him. Everyone should be treated as they're special. Just think about Chick-fil-A. It's not because their food is that damn good, because it is not. But their customer service treats everyone like they are him. For whatever reason, if you have not subscribed yet, hit the button, subscribe, watch the other videos, and maybe you find something that speaks to you. At the end of the day, we use this, but it's even more important to use this.